Alright guys, welcome to another video. We just finished off with completing our weapon system and our vendor system for the weapons. The vendor system will transfer over for everything such as outfits, armor, consumable items and stuff like that, materials even. So that's what I'm going to do in this one. I'm going to set up our consumables next so we can eat our food and get our health back and put our hunger up, stuff like that. So I'm going to start that by, I'm going to create a folder under my stats for my player, and I'm going to call this items. We're going to create some new stats here, so game creator stats attribute. I'm going to call this food, name that food as well, and I'm going to create a stat called max food. Now, I'm being a little lazy with this. I'm going to classify all my food as one, meaning like I'm not going to have multiple food types, I'm just going to have food. So whether it's like we get food from a bush or food from fishing or from an enemy or a box, it's all going to be one food. But because of that, I'm going to have a single food only put up your hunger by a little bit, so we're going to be able to hold a lot of food, so that maybe like 20 food. So I'm going to do max food 20. I'm going to set my max food under my food attribute, and let's add that to the player. So food and a max food. I'm going to do the same thing for a drink. Copy and paste that. Let's go ahead and rename that drink. Drag and drop our new max on that and rename that max drink. Alright, let's add that to the player as well. And this is going to be the same for, I'm going to have like some kind of medical, since it's a Viking survival for me, I don't know what it is for you guys. I'm going to have my medical as like a potion, I guess. And then same with my energy, I'm going to have an energy potion as well. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate all of these, and I will pause this for me to do so you don't have to sit here and watch me. So I'll come back when this is done. Alright, so I created 2 potions, potion stamina and potion health. Now I didn't leave it at 20 like I did for food and drink, I've only left these at 5. I'm going to go ahead and add these as well to the player. Alright, I am now going to, let's see, we're going to add these 4 items, so my food, drink, and 2 potions. I'm going to find an item to equip to my right hand so we can actually use them and see our player use them in game. So I'm going to go ahead and find 4 items that fit the description, and then we will be adding them to our right hand. Alright, so I only have 1 piece of food right now, but I made an empty under my hand called items. I had to scale it up by 100 times just like I did with my weapons, and I created a thing under the items called food. So I'm going to have 4 different types of food in here, and I'm going to have it randomly generate every time I eat my food. So that's the idea behind this, so I'll come back once I have my 4 foods in there. Alright, so I have my 4 foods in here, and we're going to do the same thing we did for the randomly generated like trees for our harvestables back there. And we're going to do the same thing for these 4 foods. So, to reiterate on that, I am going to have a, let's see, I'm going to set food off by default. And we're going to do a trigger. Actually, I'm going to add a trait to this. So trait, and that's going to have our AI trait, just simply for the random. Okay, so we're going to use random 1 on that. So we're going to do a trigger on enable. We are going to stats, change attribute of self, random 1, set it somewhere between 0 and 100. Alright, We're gonna wait 0.1 second and then run a condition. Add the condition on this object itself. Branch if stat attribute of self stat random1 less or equal to 25. Then we will set active our first food item. Branch that, and let's see, less or equal to 50. Set active our ham, our second food item. Alright, 75, third food item, and 100, our last food item. Alright, so on enable, that will generate a random one. And then we're going to add a trigger and paste that trigger. So I'm just going to go ahead and hide these conditions for a minute. So on disable, we will set active our 4 food items. Okay, so we got those disabled when the food deactivates. Next we will add, I guess we'll add the food into the inventory so we can equip it, and then a vendor to buy it. So next step would be go into our inventory, and let's see, go into our game view. No, not game view, inventory view. And we're going to open our item tab. So this is going to be just for food. I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste the first weapon I have of the weapon tab, and we're going to drag and drop that into our items. And then I'm going to turn it on. And I'm going to get a picture of food through Rapid Icon. So I will be right back when I figure that out. Okay, so I have my icon for my food. I'm going to go ahead and, let's see, it's going to be almost the same as our weapon stuff. I'm going to call this inventory food and owned. So for inventory food, we will run the conditions of if player food value is greater or equal to 1, then we will set active owned to true. And then owned is, by pressing that button, we will subtract 1 food and let's see, I'm also going to write a value in for the food as well. So inventory food, I have, let's see, we're going to add an attribute UI for food, and we're going to create a text as well. That's going to go under owned, not under owned, but yeah, it's going to go under owned. And because it's 20 is a max value, I'm going to write in 2 zeros here. Alright, so that will tell us how much food we have ready to go. And let's see, by clicking that, so we will subtract 1 food, and we will we will set active the food in our hand, and it should be a random food item every time. We're going to set that to true. And then that will, let's see, run conditions. So we'll play a gesture now. So under our, I'm going to switch that to use, or consume. So we'll now play a gesture, something that will make it look like we're eating. And that could be, let's see. I'm going to go into this pack here, find some kind of eating animation. There's a drinking one, so here we go, eat. Wait for that to complete. Then we will set our food to false. And let's see, we're also going to set our weapons to false, both offhand and main hand weapons. So set that to false, and set our offhand to false. And then we're going to set them to true after, once we're done eating. So offhand to true, weapons to true. Alright, and that takes one food away as well. And after we're done eating, we will add what the food does. So we're going to change our player food, or hunger, I guess, I should say. We are going to add, I'm going to say it's going to add 10 hunger per food. So, alright, so that is starting to look pretty good there. I think that's all we need for that one, other than sound effects that we can add in later. And yeah, I'm going to give that a shot. Actually, I might make a vendor where we can buy the food quickly, because I don't really want to use cheat buttons anymore. So I will be right back. I'm going to set up the starting of the vendor, and then we'll do it together after. Alright, so I've copy and pasted my weapon vendor as well as the weapon vendor UI at the same time, so now they automatically go with each other. So I already renamed this item vendor, and I'm going to rename this one item vendor menu. And we're going to turn that on. So I am going to get rid of all of these ones, and we're just going to have the purchase axe left, which we are going to say purchase food now. And then we're going to change the word owned to max. So purchase food on update, if player food value equals less or equal to 19, then we will have button true, max false. If player food, wherever it keeps going, equals 20, then we will set button false, max to true. Alright, both of these are going to use my food picture that I set up. And let's write a price in for the food, so I'm going to go for, we're going to say $25 for food. Alright, so under the button buy, we will have if player has $25 or more, then we will subtract $25. We will add food plus 1, and that's pretty much it. max, I'm going to say, instead of writing purchased, we will say max. Alright, I'm also going to add an attribute UI onto this for player food. And we will add a text mesh pro value. I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste the one from our inventory. And we're going to slide that right up into the corner here. Alright. Turn off max. And we're going to put that value in right there. So that should work now. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. And we're going to test that. So, opening my inventory, I don't have, okay, so that is there, so we don't want that being there. I'm going to fix that first. Inventory menu. So, if we were to open our item tab, that is because our consume is here. We only want to consume there if we have food. And I never did the value there either, so we're going to put that value right there. Alright, let's go ahead and try that one more time. So right off the start, oh, I am going to be having food because I never set my player's food to 0 off the start. So again, we'll fix that real fast. So we'll go down to our player's traits, find our food here, find all this stuff and turn it down to 0. Alright, save game, that should work now. Let's go ahead and try that. So, double checking, no food, nothing. Let's go and get our food. I'm going to buy some food here. As you can see, it goes up there now. We'll exit that, check our inventory. Now we have 2 food. Alright, I'm going to go buy 20 just to make sure that works, that it says max and we can't waste any more money. Alright, so we can't buy anymore. And now let's try and eat our food. Perfect. Our hunger, did it go up? It did go up. And it's different food each time, as you can see. We're going to go ahead and eat all of that. Make sure this thing disappears once we hit 0. I'm going to quickly stop in the middle there, make sure we can still buy some. Yes, we can. Alright, life is looking good. Now have functional food system in the game, and it's tied into our inventory. I'm going to have to change this on update as well to get rid of it. So we're going to save there. Let's go into our inventory button, inventory food. So on update, if food is greater or equal to 1, then set consume to true. Let's add a branch there. If food value equals 0, then we will set active consume to false. Done. So that is it for consumables, adding our food in. Now we just have to do that 3 times over for our drinks and our potions. I'm not going to do that on screen. It's the exact same process I just showed you, so if you want to do that for those, just rewatch this video. So that is it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.